Let's welcome in two-time World Cup champion, two-time Olympic gold medalist, Brandi Chastain. Brandi, thank you so much for joining us. I know you're on your way back from Seattle, so really appreciate you taking the time.
Oh, you guys are welcome. Thank you very much for talking soccer.
Absolutely. Well, we don't do it a lot, and that's one of the reasons that we need you on. First of all, if I asked you, did the U.S. men have a good run in the World Cup? How would you answer that?
I would say they had a phenomenal impact during this World Cup, and what that means is on the field they had victories, and they showed some signs of real maturity and growth and impact that they could play with some of the teams. And then I think we could also say that they really influenced a humongous population of people who had maybe never really embraced the game and got to see it for the first time on this international stage. And it was really incredible. Yesterday, I flew up to Seattle for the match, and I marched into the stadium with tens of thousands of people chanting USA and wearing red, white, and blue. And the impact that has is really penetrable, and it's generationally impactful. So I think they have really done a great job in that way. I think obviously we're going to look at them and evaluate them for the last game they played, which was in all estimations, no matter who you talk to, disappointing. Disappointing that we came out on the biggest day and had our worst performance. That's sports. That happens. It's not unique to them. And so, I'm sad for them, but that's also a part of what happens when you get into the elite of the elite.
Brandi, I couldn't wait to talk to you when I found out we were going to have you on, and you're a winner. You know what it takes to get ready for a big game and succeed in it. A lot of people are questioning the suspension being, lifted. When you heard that was getting lifted, did that have any impact or for the psyche of the team going into the game? Because a lot of people believe that did.
Yeah, I think that's a hard one to answer, to be quite honest with you, because I'm not privy to the conversations in the locker room. I don't know those players intimately. I would say that I'm sure they were probably quite ecstatic when they heard that the ban had been lifted. Flo Balogun had been such an impactful player in the group stage, and he made a difference. So you want to have all your players available when you play in the knockout rounds. And so I think in one way it could have been really exciting. I think in another way it could have been challenging in that, U.S. soccer has always had to challenge South America and Europe for space, right? To say that we are a soccer playing country and that we belong in these big tournaments. And so, you never want to feel like you're getting an edge in something that you don't deserve or it wouldn't happen for somebody else. So I think in some ways it could affect people. But, ultimately these guys are professionals. They play in professional leagues. They train every day for these moments. So I wouldn't say that for the players that was the reason why things didn't go well yesterday. But it could have been in some of the back of their minds.
Yeah, Brandi Chastain here on 95.7 The Game, two-time World Cup champion, two-time Olympic gold medalist. You said that the U.S. men's team made a big impact, and clearly, the excitement in the United States is palpable right now. It's absolutely incredible. So how do you, if you're the men, take advantage of that impact, and kind of what's the next step? And would it be fair for me to say, can we catch up to some of these other teams, or are we closer than maybe most people think?
Well, I think we're closer than most people think, and I think how we take advantage of it is we use this energy and excitement for the game. We get more young kids participating, and what you may not know is that U.S. Soccer just opened its first soccer-specific training ground in the Atlanta suburbs, and it has 19 soccer fields. It has, I think we have 27 national teams who, from power to futsal to beach to 11v11. And we now have a place where our national teams will go, that they will call home, where we will be doing studies and research and teaching and communicating with our players on the regular. And that will make a big difference. We've never had that before. So we've always kind of been this haphazard, just finding a place to put down our bags for a week or two and then move on. So that will make a big difference for us. It will allow our young players who are aspiring World Cup champions to find their home and to find their footing and to really get educated on a higher level.
Brandi, I feel like a front runner because, I'm all World Cupped out. And then when it's over, there is no like Monday night football or Sunday night football in my living room with the MLS. And it's kind of an unfair question to you. But do you think, we're losing great potential soccer players to other American sports like baseball, basketball, and football?
Well, I think that historically we have been in this same situation. So this is not new for us. Soccer has now grown up, and it is an option for professional sports. I mean, I think Freeman is the perfect example. His father was in the NFL, played in some really big games, and now he's in the World Cup. So, we don't have to fear that we don't have enough players and we don't have enough athletes. We have plenty. We, as educators and coaches, have to do a better job of giving our players everything necessary so they can be successful. And that's opportunities to play against high-level teams. That's giving them training sessions that challenge their not only physical skills but their cognitive skills. And how do we develop those social emotional skills under pressure? So I'm not worried, and I don't think that having the other leagues as I guess as opponents in getting these players to play our sport, because there's quite enough players and people out there in our ecosystem that we can fill with some of the greatest athletes around.
Brandi Chastain joining us on 95.7 The Game, two-time World Cup champion, two-time Olympic gold medalist. How do we, I was lucky enough to go up to Vancouver in 2015 to watch the U.S. women beat Japan. And, how do we expose more American fans to, the Outlaws when you march into a stadium and it's just like the feeling was indescribable, and it was probably the greatest sporting event I've ever been to, with the camaraderie and the enthusiasm. How do you get that out to people so that they can feel that?
I think conversations like this, I think engaging people, like for me, like I'm in an airport, I'm engaging people who are wearing soccer gear, or I'm seeing people in sports attire, and I ask them if they've watched a game, or I invite them to join me. I think, we're in a very interesting time, especially we're in a very different time because of technology, where people feel a little isolated and they see things from the outside. It's really up to all of us to engage our communities and give them opportunities to join us. I'm going to say right now, I'd love to engage everybody who's listening in the Bay Area to please come to Bay FC. Once this World Cup is over, we have a home match again. Please come to the stadium. Be a part of the fun and the excitement of sports. And, your presence makes a difference for our players, and you will feel that when you come to the stadium. And so I think, one, it's my responsibility as an ambassador to women's soccer, as an ambassador as a Bay FC co-founder, to say, please, everybody, come and give it a try. Come to a tailgate. I have a tailgate before the game. Please come join us. Walk up, say hello, be a part of the fun. Everybody doesn't have to feel like the expert to join a stadium or, be a part of a game. We will invite you in, we'll help you learn, or we'll share when, if you've already had an experience in it. So I just say we have to engage everybody wherever they are and wherever we are.
Oh, great stuff. Brandi, if you don't mind, I just, being that you were at the game last night, I'd like to double back and ask you this question because my partner always makes fun of how I watch sports. And being that you're a soccer guru and you played it at a high level, last night I thought they were a bit slow, sloppy, dribbling, just everything. When did you notice something was off? Or did that not pop up on your mind early?
No, definitely from the very beginning kickoff. I mean, Belgium scored very quickly. So, I noticed that the ball was not being moved fast enough. I felt like the players were trying to make decisions after they received the ball, which is not the place you want to be. The touches were a little bit tentative and not as sharp as they were. The game against Paraguay, we came out like we meant business. And I felt like, the enormity of that round is real. Let's be honest. Let's not pretend like this was just another game that you play on Sunday afternoon with your friends. This was a real knockout round, and a lot of things mattered. So it can psychologically do a lot to players who maybe have never experienced that type of pressure. So I noticed from the beginning our passes were off. They were a little delayed. They weren't proactive. The movement of the ball wasn't as sharp. Again, what happens sometimes in intense moments is that communication lessens and connections get a little bit disjointed, and that's what I saw.
Brandi Chastain joining us on 95.7 The Game, two-time Olympic gold medalist, two-time World Cup champion. Last one for me. Next year, obviously, the Women's World Cup is in Brazil. Are the U.S. women the favorites? Are they the overwhelming favorites? Are they one of several teams that could compete? What's the landscape looking like next year in Brazil?
Yeah, great question. I feel like the U.S. is in a handful of teams that could win this World Cup. I think Brazil will be a great host. We understand the tradition and the love and the passion they have for the game, and that they've really come around to the women's game as well. So that will be very exciting. I think the U.S. team, we've been going through a slight transition with some players that have been retiring. And I think where we will put a lot of our attention will be in a goalkeeping and defending role. The rest of the world has really talented players who can score goals. And so, scoring is very difficult to do in soccer, but also getting defensive organizations and actions right is also very critical. So I feel like we have the goal scorers and the Sophia Wilsons and the Trinity Rodmans and the Mallory Swansons, but we really need to get our collective defensive team defending together. Otherwise, we will suffer like our men's team did in yesterday's match.
Brandi, this has been a great show and a great conversation, and we have a lot of input from the callers today, just talking about how to grow soccer. I'll deem it that, how to grow soccer here in the States. Yeah. And a lot of people were talking about the expense, the money. When a young kid's playing travel. Do you buy into that? Is there anything there when you hear that?
Oh, yeah, of course. Not everybody has unlimited resources or luxury dollars that they can put into the young, a young player's. I'm going to say the word career because now youth sports has become a business. I think the most important thing for our young people is the ability to have access to play. And if play has a barrier of dollars, then it will always be problematic. So I think ultimately what we've seen around the world is that big clubs run their sports organizations so young kids don't have to pay. And that makes all the difference in the world, really. So we have to find ways to give access and space to every young person, not only if they have resources. And U.S. Soccer is fighting really hard, I will say, to make that a reality for every neighborhood and every young kid who wants to kick a ball. And it's a challenge. It's a challenge because we're a big country. It's a challenge because resources are, hard to find. But we can do it. If we're determined and we really want better, then we have to be resolute in that effort.
Brandi, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. Great stuff. And, man, this World Cup has been – I think it's been an eye-opener for a ton of casual fans. I know I'm included.
Oh, did you guys see this morning's game, Argentina versus Egypt?
We're on the air, but it was unbelievable.
3 goals in the blink of an eye.
I mean, there's only so many people in sports that you can say that are undeniable, and Leo Messi for sure just has magic in his boots. So it's really remarkable. It's been incredible to watch.
Yeah, I like that. I like the guy from Norway. Man, he's incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Brandi, thank you.
I was going to say that's a really good shout out, because what he does is so hard, scoring goals, especially when you only touch the ball maybe 10, 15 times a game. And so it is quite remarkable what he's doing. And I look forward to the rest of the knockout rounds. Right now we have Switzerland versus Colombia. And then Thursday or Friday, we'll have a great match in Spain versus Belgium. So that will be great.
Yeah, this is great stuff.